It's the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show, brought to you by Stock Car Steel and Aluminum and SRI Supplies. Here's tonight's Speed 77 Radio Race Chaser Online Crew Chief, Tom Baker.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another night of motorsports conversation on the Performance Motorsports Network. You are listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. My name is Tom Baker. I am the senior editor of RaceChaserOnline.com, and I am joined by three of my Race Chaser comrades. The managing editor is with me at the round table this evening. Jacob Seelman, Aaron Bearden, our Midwest correspondent, is with us, and Kyle Magda, our Northeast correspondent, is with us as well. And Kyle, I'm actually going to start with you tonight because you were busy today. You were the only one of the four of us who was actually at a racetrack, actually yesterday, 24 hours ago at the ARCA test. Talk a little bit about what's going on at the ARCA race and talk a little bit about what we can expect this weekend based on what you saw yesterday at the testing.
Well, Tom, I go from getting home at 2 in the morning on Monday morning back in Pennsylvania to going to a racetrack 2 days later. So it's been a busy month of May for me and now June. So many things going on at Pocono. Trevor Bain's going to be running the ARCA race on Saturday to gain some more track time since there's no cup testing. And with that being banned, he actually did run 13 laps before he had to run to a family commitment. Just was going to run the morning session, guys, and just actually didn't even get it in. There's weepers in the track from all-day rains before. And Kyle Weatherman wound up stepping in the car, but he'll be running the 22 in August at Pocono. Yeah. So, there's just a lot of storylines. Cole Custer there making a Super Speedway debut this weekend. Kyle Benjamin as well, another 17-year-old. There's just so many things going on, so many storylines. Some local drivers as well. Matt Krzyzewski running with actually getting help from the Keselowskis, Bob and Brian. Actually from Pennsylvania, from Mansfield. So there's just so many storylines, Tom. There's just so much going on right now. And ARCA will be back on track tomorrow with practice starting at 2:15, and they'll be on track for 2 hours. But one different thing, Tom, from this year, from any other year, is ARCA qualifying is on Saturday morning at 10:05 a.m., about 3 hours before the race, which will be live on Fox Sports 2. So you're not going to want to miss that.
And we'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the program. Jacob Seelman, you and I spent some time at the racetrack last night of a dirt track variety, watching the Mini Outlaws at Millbridge Speedway. But, of course, also we paid much attention over the weekend to what was going on in the stock car world, and lots of stuff that can be gleaned for this show. Tell me what you think the most interesting news point of the week is from the stock car world right now.
Okay, this is what I wanted to start off with, but since you didn't go to me first, I guess I can use up the joke now, but I don't feel like I can make it quite as funny. But in any event, interesting news point for the week, and I wish I could find a way to make a headline out of this, Tom, but this is radio, so I can't do the whole photo thing and make it sound great. But you get a penalty, and you get a penalty, and you get a penalty, and you get a penalty. That's the storyline for the night. And it all leads off with two people, one of whom Kyle just talked about, the other of whom, well, we never talk about her, it seems like, except for things like this. Trevor Bain, Jennifer Jo Cobb. The debate is already roiling, Tom. Should they have been suspended? Should they not have been suspended? I personally think that NASCAR didn't come down hard enough on them for the whole do not get out of your car before safety workers attend to you rule. I feel like they blew it. They had a chance to make a major statement, and they didn't do it. And I think they've just written themselves further into a box because that rule's in place for a reason. We saw it in full effect a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago now. Oh, boy. Well, no, sorry. I'm going back a little too far in the history banks, Tom. It's been about a year since we really saw the full effect of it. But, that rule's, in any case, my calendar's screwed up. But it's in place for a reason. And NASCAR needed to make a point. They didn't do it. I'm personally very disappointed by it.
Well, here's my problem with this, and I agree with you. I agreed with you initially on that. I think I was the first one of us to actually say it, but after having the chance to really read, I mean, I must admit it took me a while to get through all these penalties. I mean, between NASCAR and IndyCar was
Hey, where do you want to start? I mean, we've got
the whole week's been one giant penalty box.
Yeah.
But after having sifted through all this, I don't quite know where to go with this now, because I still would rather have seen a really, really harsh penalty, which would have included a suspension for Jennifer Jo Cobb. But I have to say that I mean, they were two slightly different situations, because Jennifer Jo Cobb actually broke more of the rule, if you want to micro pick it, than Trevor Bayne did. Trevor Bayne left his car and went directly to the infield. Jennifer Jo Cobb left her car to go out on the track and what for Tyler Reddick. And so I would argue that Trevor was basically just vacating the premises and kind of walking off to sulk, because he was, but either way, he hadn't been cleared by officials. And I don't mean that as a knock on Trevor. He had every right to. I mean, he got wrecked. It was a crazy situation, but Jennifer Jo Cobb clearly violated the entire letter of the rule that was created. And so I think that NASCAR, and in a sense, if you look at the amount of the fines, you'd say, well, Trevor got fined a lot more than she did. And that's true, except that if you look at it as a percentage of their winnings,
I'm the one that did the math on that. Thank you.
She got to keep like $6,000 after the penalty.
Yeah, basically.
Is all she got. So that's not a very good payday. So I would argue that in this case, I think the penalties probably fit the crimes. The punishment fit the crime, but I definitely think NASCAR needs to make sure that these drivers understand, and as all tracks should, that it's not because we want to be donkeys that we made this rule. It's because we want to keep you safe, and we also don't want drivers going on the track and throwing helmets and whatever. So it needs to be kept in check. But I'm not as disappointed today as I was when the penalties were first announced.
I am.
That we didn't get a suspension, because again, two kind of different situations. And I think if they'd suspended them both, one could argue that, Trevor really did a little less wrong than Jennifer did. His intentions were much different. And, really he got out of harm's way. He never put himself in harm. So
yeah, this is true.
There's a little more to it than what I was originally thinking. So that, at least that's my feeling. Aaron Bearden, you've been quiet over there. What do you think about all that?
Oh man, it's just, I don't know. You mentioned the penalty box. I'd like to think they're doing all this with the Stanley Cup Finals coming on. It's kind of just an ode to them.
There you go.
But honestly, I think they kind of just threw Jennifer Jo Cobb a bone here. They know it's a minor league team. She can't afford to run very much. I mean, I feel like they might have just hooked her up a little bit there, but they definitely, with this, they need to be sure to mention probably in the next drivers' meetings and stuff that this has to stop. This can't. I think they made the penalty so light that they need to be able to step down now and make sure the drivers know that if this is a repetitive thing, that it's going to be penalized heavier, because the precedent they've set right now, pretty much, I mean, for the minor league teams it hurts, but for your major teams it could be like a slap on the wrist. And there's some drivers with fiery tempers who I could see abusing that, so they need to make sure they kind of curtail this while they've got it fresh.
Okay. Hang on a minute, because this is the problem that I've got with that, Aaron, and this is not a knock on anything you said at all, because I do agree with your point. My problem is with what Steve O'Donnell actually said on Monday about all this. They have made it a point to bring this up in every driver's meeting for every series all season long. So why, if they've made it such a point, Tom, to make this issue such to the forefront of these drivers' minds, why are we letting them get off so easy? Why? That's what I want to know.
Well, here again, I think we have to get away from the idea of the suspension being used basically as, we're going to have a sacrificial lamb is what that amounts to in order to, okay, I don't think we're letting him get away with this as much as you seem to think so, which is really funny because usually it's everybody else telling me to relax. But I think the penalties that were assessed, if you look at them in relation to the winnings, in relation to the situations and what was created there, like I said, Trevor got fined very heavily, and he never even put himself in harm's way. He went away from the racetrack, straight back to the pits. He just didn't get cleared first. And Jennifer Jo Cobb, who got fined less, but actually really almost half her winnings, she got a severe hit there in the pocketbook. So I just don't know that a suspension really does any more to tell the guys, hey, we're serious at this point. Now, if somebody had gone out and thrown a helmet and whatever, then that's a little different. But
okay, Tony Stewart.
She just, well, yeah, among others. But I mean, Jennifer just went out and pointed her finger or whatever. Just and like I said, Trevor went right to the pit. So I don't see it as being a big deal that they didn't get suspended in the end. But Aaron's right. They've got to use this to say there's the first two penalties. Now, the next two are going to get more, basically. There's the first two. Now, now you guys know we're serious, so don't test us again because it'll be worse. And I don't see anything wrong with that.
I you know what? I can agree with that, Tom. I really can. It's not maybe the best thing ever, but it's one of those things that we're just going to have to keep an eye on. And I think it's interesting. We really didn't even bring up the fact Kevin Harvick's got a penalty.
Yeah.
It's not a huge one. They picked last for pit stalls this weekend at Pocono, and he's
freaky fast.
Big, he's freaky fast. That's a big pit area, so it really won't affect him all that much. But there's that. You've got the Xfinity penalties, one of which I think was very well deserved on the 97 Xfinity crew because of that loose lead that took out Carl Long. Why are we even talking about that as an issue? That's a safety issue that I think really needs to be addressed. It'll be soon. We'll talk more about all this and actually delve into some racing coming up after this quick word. You're listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
WinYourNewCar.com. Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest. At WinYourNewCar.com, complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free. Come on, stop dreaming, start driving with WinYourNewCar.com.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right, it's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
Hi, this is Jens Scott from Summit Point Kart in Summit Point, West Virginia. If you're looking for a real racing experience on a real racetrack, come out to Summit Point Kart this weekend. For as little as $25, you can get your racing career started. New this year, Summit Point Kart offers the RX 250 capable of over 75 miles an hour. We're open every Friday from 5 p.m. till 9 p.m., Saturday from noon till 10 p.m., and Sunday from noon till 9 p.m. For more information, go to our website, summitpointkartwithak.com, or you can call us at 304-725-5270. Summit Point Kart, your East Coast karting center.
In the race of everyday life, it's nice to have the green flag, but drivetrain problems are the pits. A fully remanufactured engine, transmission, or differential from Jasper Engines and Transmissions costs less than a new vehicle and comes with a 3-year, 100,000-mile nationwide transferable warranty. See JasperEngines.com for details and get the green flag in your race of everyday life.
See the boys at Chandler & Sons Automotive, 45977 Old Ox Road in Sterling. Give them a call, 703-437-7300.
Did you know that birthday parties help build confidence in kids?
Yeah. Did you know that giving kids less sugar before bedtime helps them sleep better?
Oh, totally. Did you know that friendly kids have more friends?
Everybody knows that.
Hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
I didn't know that.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Packers.
Vikings.
Red State.
Blue State.
We come from different places.
Uptown.
Downtown.
We come to different conclusions.
Half empty.
Half full.
But no matter how different we are, we're all connected, and we can all make a difference. That's why United Way brings people, expertise, and resources together to improve the education, income, and health of our communities, the building blocks for a better life. When we live united, our efforts, magnified by others, add up to real change. Children succeed in school, families gain financial stability, the health of our neighbors improves, and suddenly, so do our communities. But real change won't happen without you.
Live united.
So let's look beyond our differences.
Live united.
One by one, let's make a difference. Let's reach out a hand to one and influence the condition of all.
Live united.
Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United. Sign up today at liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
The Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show continues now on the Performance Motorsports Network. And here's your host, Tom Baker.
Welcome back to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network. Tom Baker, Jacob Seelman, Aaron Bearden, and Kyle Magda, all of us from RaceChaserOnline.com. Be sure to check us out every day. We got unique and interesting content of the audio and written variety, and also be sprinkling in some video coming up here. We're looking forward to having some fun with that over the next few months or so, and kind of heading more in the direction of incorporating more video into our site. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, definitely going to be fun. Looking forward to that. But for right now, we're talking racing here and talking about penalties, talking about actual racing. Jacob, there was some racing that took place last weekend that we haven't talked about yet. And, you know, sometimes you start thinking about the Monster Mile at Dover and you think concrete and it's just cold and it's hard and it's lifeless. Well, yeah, the racetrack was anything but lifeless over this last weekend, both in the sense of eating up equipment, but also in the sense of providing some really good racing and maybe a few tempers here and there too.
Yeah, well, that's what you tend to get when you multiply Bristol by 2 and tell these guys, hey, we still want you to go nuts and put on a good show. And, we had a few tempers, not as many as I'm used to seeing at the Monster Mile. I mean, we really didn't have as many crashes as I expected us to see at the Monster Mile. So in a way, it was kind of tame compared to...
Tell that to the truck racers.
I know. Don't tell that to the truck racers. That was a very good race. And, we talked about it on Monday night on our Motorsports Madness show. But again, just the whole, I tend to think we're going to see a young guys feud start to develop between Tyler Reddick and Eric Jones, the way those two raced at the end of the truck race. And of course, then we don't even have to get into Bubba Wallace and Chris Buescher. And that's a pot that's still simmering, and it's a good thing we have an off weekend for those guys going into this weekend, because they're going to need it. I heard the team meeting on Monday was less than glamorous at Roush Fenway, so I don't know that anybody's going to be sharing any snacks or sitting by the fire anytime soon in the 6 and the 60 camp. But as it is, we may at least get a little bit of a reprieve this weekend going to Pocono, because Kyle Magda, as you well know, being a Pennsylvania native, we get a little spread out, and there's at least space for people to breathe. If there's one word that everybody's going to be keeping an eye on this weekend, it's restarts.
Yeah, I mean, everything is track position at Pocono. You need to get the clean air and get out in front. And it's been like that forever there, since 1974, the first time they ever ran NASCAR there. So it's important to qualify good, get up to the front. But Jacob, we have seen in the past, guys like Carl Edwards, Jeff Gordon went from the outside the top 25 and get up to the front. So it's going to be a very interesting weekend. My biggest question going into the weekend will be the aero package. We've seen such close speeds. Like we did with the Coca-Cola 600. They're just so close in speed, yet nobody can gain on each other. And Pocono will be another test there, looking at whether they can pass or not, because from what I've seen this year, guys, it's been very, very tough to even pass a driver. And even with Carl Edwards winning the 600, I mean, he said in the media center, it's just so hard to pass for those drivers because they're running so close, they're running within 2 or 3 tenths of each other. And on a Pocono Sunday, we'll see just how it will be. Don't think we'll see it as much in the ARCA race, but Sunday for sure, Jacob.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's going to be very interesting. And, we'll talk more about it in just a little bit, Kyle, especially from the testing aspect for the ARCA boys, getting some track time yesterday and going to have more practice time tomorrow. But, Tom, what I want to hit on now before we get into the live guest aspect of our show tonight is the fact that we had a K&N West Series race over the weekend that wasn't decided until the very, very end. And we can kind of preview our first guest tonight because Chris Eggleston waited and waited and waited and waited and waited a little bit more. And finally, with 5 to go, makes a pass on James Bickford and goes on to win in the K&N West Series return to little old Shasta Raceway. That's a beautiful 3/8 mile racetrack. They ran there way back when, ran a few races back 1976 to 1980, and this was the first time we had been there since 1993 when Rick Corelli won. But Chris Eggleston gets his second win of the season, extends his lead in the points, and he could become the first champion for Bill McAnally Racing since Eric Holmes back in 2006. I mean, this is a team that I had a lot of doubts about going into the year, and he's proved me wrong with the second win of the year.
Well, Chris has really developed as a driver. It's great to see that too, because he's been around for a little bit in Can-Am West, but late models prior to that, and it's good to see him emerging and getting better. And that race actually featured some great performances by some of the younger guys. Grayson Raz in particular, Jacob, he started where? 20.
He had to come from the back at one point. It's not that he had to start there.
Oh, okay.
He got shuffled. Yeah, he got shuffled back pretty early and had to come back through to finish in the top 5. But he really did a nice job. And nobody expected him to be second in points right now. He's leading the Rookie of the Year chase, despite the fact that his teammate Noah Gragson has a victory and he doesn't. He's just been so consistent in what he's done. It's really impressed me in that 27 machine, what he's been able to do. He wasn't even rookie of the race in that Shasta race. Johnny White in the 31 beat him out for that, but Grayson's just been eerily consistent. And if Eggleston makes a mistake, I'm not going to call him the Ben Rhodes of the West just yet, but I'm telling you, Grayson could surprise some people for this championship.
Well, I don't know that we can compare him to Ben Rhodes in the sense that in Ben Rhodes, obviously in Ben Rhodes championship year, he won about everything there was to win.
Yeah, 6 wins.
I mean, but there is a comparison in the approach that both drivers at that level, obviously Grayson now and Ben last year, both drivers at the K&N level exhibited some similar character traits. The main trait of which is patience. They're not guys that are going to overdrive the cars, make crazy moves, and be the ones that you're just glued to the entire race. They're drivers that are just going to take opportunities as they come to them. They're not going to rush their way through. They don't care if they lead all the laps. They really just want to win the thing. And that's really what's gotten Grayson to where he is. And I think he has a legitimate shot at this championship. And I'm really excited for Chris, and I'm excited for Grayson. I'm excited for Noah. The K&N Pro Series West has really developed very nicely this year, Jacob, and has become a fun series to watch with a great bunch of younger guys and a couple of veterans that are still quite competitive out there. And it makes it a nice situation. I think West and East right now are pretty equal in terms of the talent and skill sets. And I think that showed a few weeks ago when they were in Iowa.
Iowa, yeah. And you know what? It's shocking to me. This is the first time I think we can actually say that the West is back on par with the East in probably 5 or 6 years, to be honest. It's been quite a while since we've had enough of a depth of field to be able to say that. But you mentioned 4 names, and we haven't even talked about Bickford.
James Bickford,
Ryan Partridge, Brandon McReynolds, Nicole Behar, who's part of the NASCAR Next, Hannah Newhouse, David Mayhew, one of those veterans that you can never count out. I mean, there are 8 to 10 guys and gals that legitimately have a shot to run top 5, top 3 every single week, and it's making it fun again. It's making it to where we don't know exactly what's going to happen out west. A couple years ago, you basically knew the battle for the win was going to go through a Greg Pursley, or it was going to go through when he was running a Dylan Kwasniewski, or it was going to go through a David Mayhew back before David took his first hiatus from the series, or an Eric Holmes when Holmes was so dominant in the mid-2000s. But now you're actually guessing here a little bit, and that's what's made it a lot of fun. It's made it exciting for me to be able to see what Chris and what James, some of these guys, it's, again, you're finally able to see that veteran versus youth battle in the West like you really haven't the last couple of years. And I think really it's made what Chris has been able to do, shooting out to a 12-point lead through the first third of the season, that much more impressive.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it's going to be interesting as we go down the stretch because, again, you mentioned the consistency that Grayson's had. I think it's kind of a tortoise and a hare approach. He's been the tortoise, and if Chris is going to win the championship, he's got to keep running in the top 2 or 3 and stay, because you give Grayson an opportunity to win a race. And he's, it's going to be interesting. And we'll talk to Chris about that here right around the turn. You're listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show, and you're listening to it on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest at winyournewcar.com. That's right, winyournewcar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free delivered to your door. Come on, stop dreaming and start driving with winyournewcar.com.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
So you finally arrived at the sweet spot in your life. The kids are raised and gone. You have free time, and it's finally time to do something for you. If you've ever considered owning a Corvette but have been putting it off for years, now is the time to act. Isn't this the time to finally get that Corvette you always wanted and drooled and dreamed over? Well, grab the little lady by the hand and take her to Cooper Corvettes. They're conveniently located on Route 1 just off of I-95 and just north of the Marine Corps base. They have lots of pampered and well-maintained Corvettes in inventory, and if they don't have what you want, they'll find it. From classic Stingrays to modern-day cars, Cooper is your one-stop shop. And speaking of shops, they service what they sell. And even if you didn't buy a Cooper Corvette, they'll service your Corvette anyway. Become part of the Cooper Corvette family. Call them at 703-445-1483. That's 703-445-1483. And on the web at coopercorvettes.com. That's coopercorvettes.com, American pride and countrywide.
You wouldn't trust your taxes to an uncertified accountant, so why trust your vehicle to an uncertified technician? When you have to take your car into the shop, look for the blue and white ASE sign. That ASE blue seal means the shop employs technicians certified by the National Institute for Automotive Service Excellence. ASE certification is proof that technicians have the knowledge and experience to fix your vehicle right the first time. For more information on finding an ASE Blue Seal of Excellence facility, visit the website at www.ase.com.
Hi, this is Carl Edwards here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. You want to make a difference? It's simple. Be responsible. Plan ahead. Designate before you celebrate. Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
Baby, you can drive my car. Yes, I'm gonna be a star.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Now, back to more with Tom and the Speed 77 radio crew. It's the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back to the fastest 2 hours of motorsports radio. You're listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show with the RaceChaserOnline.com, the Speed 77 radio group. Tom Baker, Jacob Seelman, Aaron Bearden, and Kyle Magda all joining in tonight to have some discussion on motorsports. And Jacob, we've got our first guest of the evening. Really excited to have Chris Eggleston on the program after winning another race in the K&M Pro Series West. Jacob, let's get him out here and go full throttle.
Yeah, you're excited. I could hear it in your voice. You're trying to pull me. You're trying to pull me and go up about 3 octaves. Don't do that. You'll hurt yourself. With that being said, Chris Eggleston, I'm going to spare the theatrics and say welcome to the program. We're glad to have you on. And if the first win last year was big and surprising enough, you waited and waited and. I was beginning to wonder if you were going to make a move at the end of this Shasta race on Saturday night, but you, about 5 to go, decided you were going to hit the button, and it paid off with a trophy. Congratulations.
Well, first of all, thank you guys, and thanks for having me on the program tonight. The Napa Filters Toyota, we had a good car all weekend long in practice. We struggled a little bit in qualifying and qualified in the 5th position. Shasta Speedway is kind of a tough track to pass on. It's really tight, narrow, hard on the brakes, and hard to get under people. And one of the biggest characteristics people explained to me when we were going there was it was near impossible to pass on the outside. Well, after riding in the 5th position for about the first 25 to 30 laps, we decided to step on the outside, and we were able to make it work and pass a couple cars and get into the 3rd position and kind of put us into position to where it shaped out to be at the end of the race. When James kind of checked out there on that last restart with about 15 laps to go, I was kind of under the assumption that we were going to have to settle in the 2nd position. But as I kind of relaxed and backed up my corners a little bit, we kind of inched back towards him. Our car was really good on the long runs, and it was just good enough that we were able to get next to him and pull to the inside of him with about 4 to 5 laps to go and come out with a big win there at Shasta Speedway.
Looking at your season so far, I mean, obviously you kicked off your career with Bill McAnally last year with that big win at your home track at Colorado National, but now you've got 2 very different wins in 2015, and you're leading the point standings through the first third of the season. Did you picture that the start to the year was going to be as good, as solid as it's been for you guys? We talk about 12 points. Maybe it doesn't seem like a lot, but with as short as this K&M West season really is, you guys have actually done and gotten yourself a little bit of a buffer here right now.
Well, starting back in February, I didn't even have a ride coming into this 2015 season. So to think that we would have a season like this as successful as we've been has been a dream come true. Because like I said, I didn't even think I was going to be in the seat of a race car come race season this year. And Bill, took a chance on me. And with the help of Napa Filters and batteries, Napa hose and belts, we were able to put a full season together. For us to win that first win this season at Irwindale, that was huge. That was awesome. The first time I've ever been to that track, and with the limited practice that we got and come out on top, that was big. Moving on to Tucson, we felt like we had a really fast race car and just kind of lost the handle on it on the halfway break and throughout the final closing lap. So it kind of got us discouraged. Having a team like Bill McAnally and being put in the position that I've been in, you have to win races, because if you don't, there's tons of drivers across the whole country that are going to fill your seat. So it puts a little added pressure on everybody to go out there and win races. And when we went out to Shasta Speedway, again, a place that this series has not been to in almost 22 years, obviously a track I've never been to, and come out with another win, with 2 wins in just 5 races, it has been awesome. It's been a great vibe for myself, the team, and really lifted the whole 99 team up. And then with Brandon having the win at Iowa the week before, the Bill McAnally racing team is shown a lot of speed throughout the year. So we're just really excited to continue this season. We head into Sonoma here in a couple weeks, another track I've never been to, a road course. I've never been on a road course, so it's going to be pretty eye-opening and a whole new learning experience. So we're going to have to go out there. We're going to have to be somewhat conservative and cautious and stay on the racetrack, complete all the laps with the points lead that we had. You guys were talking earlier on your show. The West Series I mean, any given weekend, there's 10 guys that could go out there and win the race, and that's really cool to see in that series. And so, even though that we have a 12 points lead right now, which may seem big, with the way racing's going this year in the K&N West Series, anybody can win races. You never know how things are going to shake out, and we just got to continue to put up solid top 5 finishes and hopefully get a couple more wins before the end of the year.
Now, with your story, this deal coming together so late, it gave a lot of people maybe a little bit of an eye-opener because it was the first time some people were hearing your name. So I actually want to give you a chance and even give the listeners a chance to circle back with us for a minute and actually talk about how you got your start, Chris, because obviously, I circled the fact that your home track, Colorado National Speedway, is one of the places where you've done a lot of racing. But, talk a little bit about how this all got started for you.
Well, I mean, I'm no different than a lot of kids that grew up racing. I started racing quarter midgets at the age of 5 all over the country. I spent a lot of time racing legend cars at 14. I got into a super late model at 16. And like you said, race at our home track at Colorado National Speedway when we can and quite often. In 2009, we went off and ran the full ASA North Series with a team called 5K Motorsports in Wisconsin. And we were able to come out with the Northern Series Championship. And that kind of put me on the map, so to speak, in the super late model series. I had a few limited truck starts in 2011 with a team called SS Greenlight Racing, or 2010, I should say. And then come 2011, they had one of the biggest super late model races known to history. It was the highest paying, and that was the race at North Wilkesboro Speedway. And that was another Cinderella story. They didn't invite me to run that race for them maybe 2 weeks before that race. And they built a car and we went out there just hoping to make the show. I mean, the top drivers from all over the country were there. I think there was almost 90 cars that were there, and we came out with a big $75,000 to win check there with a huge win. That race definitely put my name more on the map on the East Coast, predominantly being from the West Coast. I knew the K&N Series was coming to Colorado last year, and everybody asked, well, how did you get in the seat of a Bill McAnally car? And to be honest with you, I tell everybody the same story. I just basically cold called them and said, hey, Bill, here's who I am. This is what I've done. I'm not sure exactly who I am, but I have a few laps around my home track. What would it take to get in one of your cars? And obviously it took a lot of things to come together. Nothing's going to come together with one phone call, but I started putting that deal together months before that race. And what better way to get our foot in the door but to go out and win that race for him? And that kind of led up to where we are at this year, now with 2 additional wins in 2015 at the top of the point standings, and hopefully just continue on this high road that we are on.
Chris, 3 wins in K&N West. Is there like a good luck charm with that number 99? Because they won a lot of times last year. Or are Bill McAnally's cars just that good, and also with your talent combined as well?
Oh, I mean, you bring up a great point. I mean, you cannot deny the number of wins the number 99 car's got, whether it was with me driving it last year, Nick Drake in Phoenix, I think Patrick Strapoli, Christian Payhood, and then myself these 2 years. It's quite funny around the race shop because Brandon McReynolds, my teammate, he's a good friend of mine, and when we kind of joke about it all the time about switching numbers and the such, just because he knows that there is some luck around that number 99 car. And I told him there's no way I'm switching him numbers because I'm not going to deny there is or isn't any luck with that 99 number. So I've never ran under that number, but it's definitely a good number to have this year, coming on with 2 wins and 5 starts this year, 3 wins and 6 starts with Bill. I don't know. I don't know if anybody believes in luck out there, but there's definitely something to that number for sure.
You mentioned, running a couple of truck series races for SS Greenlight. And then you mentioned that it was 2010. Am I correct about that, Chris?
Yeah, we ran some limited truck series starts in 2010, and that big North Wilkesboro race was in 2011. We also were involved with a brand new startup truck team in 2011 as well, and we tried to qualify for Daytona and Phoenix for a real small startup truck team, and then made the last time I was in a truck was last year, made 1 start for SS Greenlight at Iowa Speedway as well for them.
The question I was going to ask you was, at that point in your career going into the truck series, that must have been quite a a big adjustment for you. And now I wonder if you kind of look at that and say, gosh, I just want the opportunity to go back and do it again.
Yeah, I mean, back in 2010 when we ran those truck races, I felt like I was a very young race car driver at the time and never expected to be in that position that I was at that time. But we just tried to make the best of it. Being in the K&N series, don't get me wrong, I mean, kids dream about being in that series all their lives, and I'm very happy and content with where I am, driving for such a great team, winning the races we're winning. I've got great people surrounding me. As far as a crew chief, the whole team goes. As a driver, you can only hope to move up and continue to grow. Being in the truck series, I'd love to get back in the truck series again, but at the same time, I have to be so thankful that for Bill to give me a shot in the K&N West series. And so moving forward, anything that happens or for whatever reason we go out and win a championship or just continue to win races, you just kind of have to live in the moment and be thankful for the situation that you've been blessed with and just kind of, like I said, live in the moment. I mean, racing in the K&N series is a great series to be in. It's a great development series, stepping stone. There's a lot of great drivers in this series as well. So when you get to race door to door with a lot of those great and big names moving up through the series, I mean, it's something to be truly proud of no matter where your career takes you.
Definitely. Now, Chris, you talk about running door to door with them, but it seems like one of the keys to your championship lead right now is actually running ahead of them at the start. I was looking over your stats, and you have the highest average start in the whole field. How important do you feel qualifying has been to you this year in the K&N series with as tight and as competitive as the field is?
It definitely is important week in and week out, and that's something we truly work on every time we go to the racetrack. Not only do we work on our race trims, but we also work on our qualifying trims. Like you said, I felt like we've had some great qualifying runs, and to be honest with you, I'm almost a little bit disappointed with a couple of them. I felt like we had cars strong enough to sit on the pole several times this year, but with whatever happened, we didn't. And sometimes we do crutch that, and we make sure our car's good enough for the race, as all the races are impound races. We don't want to get caught up on sitting in the pole. But at the same time, anytime you can start up front and not abuse your car as much going through traffic in a long race, such as last weekend, we ran 150 laps without a brake and no tires. When we started jumping on top on the outside and making some of those moves, you know, we were definitely abusing our right front tire, getting in the corner, abusing the right rear, trying to throttle off and keeping the car straight. So that comes back to the point where, you know, if we can continue to qualify up front or at least close to the front, that's just less abuse that we have to put on our tires throughout the race and hopefully compound us into a better finish at the end of the night.
Well, Chris, before we let you go tonight, we always want to give our drivers a chance to give shout-outs and thank yous to the sponsors, supporters who help make it happen. Who does make it happen for you in the 99 crew?
Well, I certainly wouldn't be here for Bill McAnally himself, again, for giving me the opportunity that he did. And beyond that, we all wouldn't be here if it wasn't the help and support that he had from Napa Filters, Napa Auto Parts, Napa Hose and Belts, Napa Batteries, and Toyota Racing for giving us the chance to go out there and showcase our success. My family has been behind me ever since I started at the age of 5, and to this day, they've only missed probably 2 races in my entire race career. I have an amazing, loving, and supporting wife that grew up around racing and continues to allow me to do the things that I do. We have our own family-owned and operated super late model team back here at home. And, of course, I spend a lot of countless hours up in the race shop trying to make sure that thing's ready to go. And she's just been always super supportive of letting me be up there and supportive of the racing week in and week out. So all my great fans here in Colorado, they're just absolutely amazing. And I invite everybody to go like our Chris Eggleston Racing Facebook page, fan page. I feel like we put a lot of great information and fan stuff, a few giveaways up there. And, beyond that, I mean, just it's been a great ride so far this 2015 season, and hopefully we can continue the success that we're having.
We're looking forward to seeing what happens with it, Chris, and we appreciate you taking a few minutes to come on the show and talk with us, and hope to have you back on the show soon.
Absolutely, guys. Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, and hope you guys have a great rest of your night show, and take care, and hopefully we get to talk to you guys soon.
That's Chris Eggleston, and we will be back in just a moment to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports show to preview a little bit more with the ARCA Series at Pocono. You're listening to the show right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
In the Pits Media is proud to present its newest partner, WinYourNewCar.com. That's right, you now can enter the #1 American Dream Car Contest giveaway at WinYourNewCar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free, delivered to your door. Come on, stop dreaming, start driving with WinYourNewCar.com.
Did you know that birthday parties help build confidence in kids?
Yeah. Did you know that giving kids less sugar before bedtime helps them sleep better?
Oh, totally. Did you know that friendly kids have more friends?
Everybody knows that.
Hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
I didn't know that.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hands can do incredible things. They made every sound in this piece of music. But nothing compares to using them to help save a life. If an adult suddenly collapses, call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of their chest until help arrives. It's called hands-only CPR, and it's recommended by the American Heart Association. Visit handsonlycpr.org today. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Car problems? You can trust your local Cotman man. Cotman has a 40-year history as a leader in car repair and making happy, satisfied customers. Whatever's wrong with your car, SUV, or truck, Cotman will check it out free using state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment. Don't take chances with your car. Bring it to Cotman and let your local Cotman man show you why they are America's transmission and total auto care experts. Visit Cotman.com to download money-saving coupons. Cotman. Real service, real fast.
You know that phone call is going to come at the worst possible time, right at the end of the game. Fourth quarter, fourth down, and 1 yard to go. They're piling up, but you can't watch that. You got to get that car off the road. This could have been prevented if you have taken advantage of Cotman's free TransCheck 21. Here's a chance to have us look at your car and head off any problems that could happen that could interrupt that game. Again, it's a free check. Come see us.
See Leonard and the fine folks at Cotman of Manassas, 9113 Mathis Avenue in Manassas. Give them a call at 703-365-7200.
All I wanted to do was just pick up a guitar and sing praise songs.
From IamSecond.com.
Well, when I got to 17, I was playing in after-hours bars, just in a bunch of trouble.
Grammy Award winner Michael W. Smith.
Smoking that first joint and feeling so guilty about it. From there, it was LSD, and your compass sort of just like disappeared. I knew where I belonged. I just couldn't get out. I was very depressed. I went on the floor and just began to shake. And I was just weeping. I was weeping. And I just began to just cry out for God. 12:30 at night, on the linoleum floor of my kitchen, the God of the universe came and wept with me on that floor. I know where my hope lies. It's not being a rock star. I'm a son of the High King of the universe.
Watch Michael's story at IamSecond.com.
Here we go with more of the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Okay, hey, Tom, by the way, since we're just coming back out of break here, I got to ask you, do you have all 5 of your hairs with you this time?
I do, actually. They're much shorter than they were last week, but they're with me.
We welcome you back to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show here on PMN. Jacob Seelman, that guy, Tom Baker, Aaron Beard, and Kyle Magda all around the round table. And Magda, so we talked about it a little bit at the top of the show. We'll talk a little bit about it more now. ARCA testing at Pocono in advance of the first of 2 stops for the series at the Tricky Triangle coming up this weekend. We practice on Friday, qualify and race on Saturday, and I think for the first time in probably 5 or 6 years, I'm scratching my head because it might actually be a really competitive race. I can think of about 12 guys that legitimately, depending on the breaks, could have a shot to win this deal.
Yeah, and the guy who was fastest yesterday in practice, pretty much no surprise to me, Michael Lira, in his number 58.
Really?
Lira Motorsports Ford, absolutely. Qualified 4th there in his Pocono debut last August, finished 10th. But yes, Michael Lira was fastest. And not a shock to me, Kyle Benjamin was 2nd on the board. There's just so many big names out there. Kyle Weatherman's not even running the race, and he was quick. He'll be running in August. But there are so many names right now you could throw into a hat that have a shot at the race. Cole Custer, Kyle Benjamin, Trevor Bayne, Michael Lira. even Frank Kimmel. I mean, Frank Kimmel was fast, in that Venerini equipment, and I think Frank might be the only repeat winner in that field. And Jacob, since 2006, there has not been a repeat winner at Pocono. So that's something you're going to want to keep in mind here come Saturday. No Brendan Poole, of course, him running the Xfinity deal this year. Was originally going to run some part-time ARCA, but his plans changed for the better. So, Jacob, right now it's looking like a wide open field, and I'm really going to be interested to see how practice turns out come Friday afternoon.
I'm not sure how wide open it is. 4 of the last 7 Pocono ARCA races have been won by a team that has a NASCAR Cup Series affiliation. So I've got my eye on one guy in particular that you actually got a chance to talk to, Kyle. So we will actually, before we discuss his chances, hear from Cole Custer from yesterday afternoon's test session at the Tricky Triangle.
Kyle Madge with Race Chaser Online and Performance Motorsports Network here with Cole Custer. Cole, you turned your first laps at Pocono today, first time on a super speedway. What do you think of Pocono Raceway?
It's real fast. It's it's different in a lot of spots, like the tunnel turn. It gets real bumpy, but mostly just the speed was the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing that you notice.
Yeah, and talking about the race car, I know at New Jersey Motorsports Park you ran an old Junior Motorsports car with Chase Elliott. Is this a new car, or is this another old car for Pocono?
This was the same car Chase Elliott drove 2 years ago, I think, here at Pocono. So it's a good car, and I think we're going to do pretty well this week.
So what do you think about going fast here on a track like this?
It's fun. I mean, you get to feel a lot of speed, and it's something you don't get to feel all the time.
And making your debut at New Jersey here a few weeks ago, won the pole, finished 5th. What do you think of these ARCA cars for your first time around?
It wasn't too much getting used to because I've been on a radial tire, and the motor, they don't have too much motor, but I mean, they're definitely fun to drive, and it's a great series to be in.
And you had a busy weekend last week, and you run the truck race at Dover. Then I saw you at Bowman Gray, with looking out for your Bill McAnally Racing teammates. What was Dover like? Returning there for the second straight year and actually coming to a track where you have experience at.
Yeah, we led the most laps, and we probably could have had a shot to win. We just we had a fueling issue at the end. We had to pit with 10 to go. So we ended up 13th, but we brought a real fast truck, and looking forward to every week in that thing because we're so fast all the time.
Yeah, and KCK won the truck race at Charlotte. I mean, did that kind of give you a little bit of a confidence booster knowing that juniors trucks have speed?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've always been really fast everywhere we've went, so I know that we have good enough trucks to win. So, I'm looking forward to every race that we go to. Like I said, I think just because I know we're going to be fast everywhere.
You're testing today. Do you have any expectations set for Saturday, or is it still a little too early for that?
I'd say just to get experience mostly, and then I think we'll have a shot to win. I think we'll have a car to run top 5 or win the race. So I think our goal is really to get experience, but I think we'll have a shot to win.
That's Cole Custer.
All right, so Kyle, now we heard from him just a minute ago. I know he doesn't really want to set expectations, but we certainly can do that here on this show. So I picked him Monday night to win this race on Saturday. It's a JRM affiliated team. We know where they get their power and equipment from up at Hendrick. So are we circling the 00 as the team to beat this weekend, or do you think no?
Well, I think anytime you step in a junior motorsports car, you have a pretty good chance at winning the race. With Chase Elliott there a few years ago, like he said. But right now, I just don't know right now, Jacob. There's just so many competitive cars in the race. Like I said, Custer, Benjamin, Bain. Those are pretty much some of like, I guess you want to say the Mount Rushmore of the ARCA teams there. With that, because they're doing so good right now. You have Kyle Weatherman in that 22 team. They're coming off a win at New Jersey Motorsports Park. Then the week before, you have Todd Gilliland becoming the youngest winner ever in the Venerini car. Yes, they've been dominating, but I think James Pike, our VA correspondent, picked Josh Williams to win. I would not be shocked to see him run good as well. They have been quietly good. And also, I know Aaron and I were talking about this, about he'll have the deal running with Cunningham at Chicagoland here in a few weeks. So that's a really good opportunity for him to go out and run in a very competitive car. But right now, I mean, Cunningham, you don't want to count out Tom Hester either. He's run very well at Pocono as well. I think his best finish is either 3rd or 4th there. So there's a lot of things going on, Jacob, with here. You're gonna have Bobby Earhart in the field. You even have Tyler Audi for Kyle Beatty Racing as well. So and there's 5 Pennsylvania drivers competing and entered in for Saturday's race. So there's a lot of of names you can go through, and Mason Mitchell as well, making his return to the series, finishing second to Kyle Larson there last June, and then running in August, winning the pole and finishing seventh. So there's a lot of talent in that ARCA field for Saturday. So like I said, with practice tomorrow, then qualifying, I think it will mean everything to start up front. But the speeds they've been running, they just kept picking up as soon as the afternoon kept going on. The Michael Lira at the end of Wednesday afternoon running that time of 169.3 miles an hour, Jacob.
I'm shocked that Michael Lira was able to supplant some of the names that he supplanted in order to top testing yesterday. That I know that program's capable, but they're building it as well. And it's Michael's super speedway debut. Nobody expected him to come out of the box like he did. Sleeper pick, there you go. I'll throw out the 58.
He's my dark horse right there.
Yeah, you know what? That team, I think, as a whole is a dark horse. David Levine up in the top 5 in ARCA points right now as well in the 59. I mean, he's been climbing forward. So that whole team's on the rise. But as it comes down to it, you mentioned Frank Kimmel, 3-time ARCA winner at Pocono, and
none since 2006.
None since 2006. But I'm not saying it's not capable. He's due. If anybody's due at Pocono, it's Mason Mitchell. They're coming back with a vengeance, I know. And even Tom Hessert's going to be coming for revenge after the one that got away at Talladega. This is not this season has not been the Grant Enfinger story. It started out that way, but I'm not even ready to call Grant the favorite this weekend at Pocono in that 23 car. He'll be up there, but I think you're going to see somebody else steal the checkers, like you said, Kyle, at the end of the afternoon. So obviously practice tomorrow and then the race on Saturday on Fox Sports 2. For live coverage of that, check your local listings right now. We're going to take a break, come back, and talk Madhouse, wrap up the K&N series as we get set for 2 more special guests in our second hour. Halfway home in the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. You're listening to it right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
WinYourNewCar.com. Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest. At WinYourNewCar.com, complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free. Come on, stop dreaming, start driving with WinYourNewCar.com.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
You wouldn't trust your taxes to an uncertified accountant, so why trust your vehicle to an uncertified technician? When you have to take your car into the shop, look for the blue and white ASE sign. That ASE blue seal means the shop employs technicians certified by the National Institute for Automotive Service Excellence. ASE certification is proof that technicians have the knowledge and experience to fix your vehicle right the first time. For more information on finding an ASE Blue Seal of Excellence facility, visit the website at www.ase.com.
My very first movie, it was called British Terabithia, and that was a film that a lot of kids loved.
From IamSecond.com.
It felt very cool in my heart to know that I did something nice.
Actress Bailey Madison.
I don't want it to be about me, I want it to be about God. Even though you have an earth father, he is your father, that you can say to him, God, I'm not feeling too well today. Or if it's just, little things like, I feel homesick, or I need you, Lord. I need to feel happiness in my heart. The most important thing is you have to have hope. You have to have faith. God is with you, and God is with you every step of the way. If you give yourself to God and you say, I'm ready to commit myself to you, you will know that God is watching you. He looks down and he goes, I'm very, very happy with what you just did. My name is Bailey Madison, and I am second.
And now, back to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show with Speed 77 Radio's most follically challenged host, Tom Baker.
We talked about my hair in the last segment. Let's not kill the gag here. Tom Baker, along with Jacob Seelman, Aaron Beard, and Kyle Magda, sitting around talking racing for a couple of hours here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Glad to have you along for the ride. And Jacob, been a very interesting show so far. The chance to talk a little K&M Pro Series West, and then, of course, a chance to talk a little bit of ARCA and hear from one of their top contenders. It's always fun to sort of jump around and go from regional series to regional series, and yet, interestingly enough, you sometimes find that you end up talking about the same people in two different series on successive weeks.
Well, this is true. This is very true. Or, 3 different weeks or 3 different series. I mean, these guys bounce around a lot, and I think that's fun. What makes it a whole. That is what makes it fun. And speaking of bouncing around, that's what we're going to do right now, because Kyle Magda, Tom, and I got a little piece of it on last week Wednesday, during their open test before Bowman Gray Stadium held a K&M Pro Series East race on Saturday night. So we'll go from the West Coast to the East Coast. And boy, if we want to talk about a race that was a little bit weird, Tom, Saturday night's K&N East race was, weird, because it was at Bowman Gray Stadium, a track that is billed as the Madhouse, but this race wasn't very mad. There were only 3 cautions. There was only one really big wreck in turns 3 and 4, and Scott Heckert took his Project Lifesaver number 34 Chevrolet and said, adios, boys. I'm going to start from the pole. I'm going to lead every lap, and I'm going to win the race. And that's exactly what he did.
It was weird by Bowman Gray standards. I mean, you think about Bowman Gray Stadium, and anyone who's been to the stadium any amount of times understands what happens there. I mean, it's a cereal bowl, and there's a lot of contact. Generally, the K&M Pro East Series races there feature a lot of carnage and a lot of wrecks, and maybe a fight or two, and then we get to lap 3. But this one quite different. It actually was very tame, and Scott Heckert led flag to flag, and there were some other drivers, mostly his teammates, that got close, but nobody could really do anything with him. And he just had a race car to stay out front, and he found himself again in clean air, probably more so than happens normally. And even when he did get into lap traffic, everybody basically behaved themselves. It was just an interesting race to watch. And Scott definitely took advantage of his starting position as much as he possibly could. He just stayed out front and stayed away from everybody. And, what incidents we did have, fortunately, for the most part, he wasn't anywhere near them.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's pretty easy to avoid wrecks when you're out in front of them. I mean, we've proven that works. It's kind of the laws. It's the laws of physics.
Yeah, but at Bowman Gray, when you're in the middle of traffic as much as you are, you always worry about lap cars. That's the big thing. No matter where you are on the racetrack, you're worried about, lap cars around you. But again, for the most part, everything that did happen was a good bit away from him. And he had more, I think, a little bit better of a car off the corners than what his teammates had, and I think that was the difference. J.J. Haley was very fast in certain sections of the track, and of course, Dalton Sargent also very quick, but neither one of them quick enough to really contend with Scott. And great to see Scott pick up that win. I mean, he's a good, solid racer, and as young as he is, the veteran of that team right now, and topped his younger teammates quite nicely the other day.
Yeah, he did. And, we talk about the fact that H. Scott Motorsports is back in the East Series. I mean, they never really left, but they proved their dominance once again. It's been now 3 years in the making, and they sweep the podium with Scott, Dalton Sargent finishing second, J.J. Haley finishing third. We'll hear from both Scott and J.J. coming up in just a few minutes. But Kyle Magda, one of the teammates in that squad that we haven't talked about yet, is one that had a few problems, and as such, the points race for the K&N East has tightened considerably after Bowman Gray. William Byron and Austin Hill, the top two in the championship standings, getting into it a little bit. I mean, not purposely by Bowman Gray standards, but Byron in the fourth H. Scott car, he was the points leader, and now he's got three very, very hungry guys breathing down his neck.
Yeah, and I was surprised when it happened. Austin Hill was starting to slide back a little bit. Brakes were going on the car. And William Byron tried to just put it in there a little bit into Austin Hill and wound up spinning out both of them. And really went right to the back and really were never heard from for the rest of the night. But for a guy like Kyle Benjamin, I mean, he finished ahead of both of them. Benjamin was 13th. He's sitting third in points right now. Austin Hill 14th, Byron 15th. But guys, the one guy who benefited from this all was your race winner, Scott Heckert, moves to within 18 points of his teammate William Byron, and 1 point behind Kyle Benjamin right now in third, and also 5 points behind Austin Hill. And we were almost starting to write him off after that wreck at Greenville. Finishing last in that race and getting the incident with Kaz Gralla, but guys, Scott Heckert's back. Goes out there, fastest in second practice, gets the pole, leads every lap. And as the headline said, great Scott on Saturday night after he dominated the K&N race. So, just a good job by that entire crew. Getting him out there, getting him the track position. And like you said, Jacob, it looks like neither Dalton or JJ can get up to the front there. They were close, but it just seemed like at times Scott got the lap traffic at a bad time and Dalton would get it at other times. It's just how they negotiated it. And in the end, it was an H Scott 1, 2, 3. So really, it was an interesting night, like the three cautions, but it was a good weekend at Bowman Gray overall.
It was a lot of fun. I wish I could have been there Saturday night. Really enjoyed, being able to spend some time at the test last Wednesday, though, and just catching up in that paddock. And Tom, now they get a couple weeks off before they go to their next race on the calendar. The third weekend of this month, they'll be at Langley Speedway for the next stop on the East Series schedule in 2015. And boy, you talk about going from a track where anything can happen to another track where anything can happen. They aren't afraid to mix it up at Langley, too, even though they have about, almost twice the space.
Well, and I think there are some guys, H. Scott pretty much dominated Bowman Gray, and you kind of expect at least one or two of those cars to be up front everywhere you go. It just depends on which two happen to hit it on a particular day. But I think there are a couple of guys at Bowman Gray that we need to give some credit to who we haven't mentioned yet. One of them that I was really impressed with isn't even a K&N Pro Series East driver. Mason Mitchell jumped into a car he's never driven before and started the back of the field and ended up coming through into a top 10 finish. And let me tell you, I was watching him coming through the field. Now, yes, he did his share of rooting and gouging because that's what you do at Bowman Gray. But a lot of his passes were clean, and some of them were on the outside where he just flat drove around people. Mason was extremely impressive, and I've got to believe that that's given him a little bit of a shot in the arm going into his run this weekend at Pocono with the ARCA Series. So want to give him some credit. And but the Langley race, I think you're going to find, I think Greg Gaulding, I think some of the guys like that were, fifth, sixth, really impressed, too, with the run that Devin Amos had at Bowman Gray. He showed some signs, and I think that's a driver that's starting to improve as well a little bit. There were some names at Bowman Gray that we really, didn't see them a lot in the top five, but they still had good runs. And, Gray and Devin were two of those guys that I really wanted to give a shout out to. And I think the Langley race could be one of those races where you're going to see a few of those guys step it up even more. I think Gray Gaulding is going to definitely have a fast car there, and he'll be in contention to win that race.
Oh, yeah. And, you talk about, I'll throw one more name out there that I was happy to see get a solid run, was Kenzie Ruston getting the top 10, Tom, on Saturday night, her first of the season. And that team's needed something to go right because it's just been bizarre for that 4 crew this year. They've just had every vestige of bad luck. I mean, I know Kenzie can drive a race car. We know she just hasn't forgotten how to turn left and go fast. She's just had all sorts of different unsundry things happen.
Yeah, she has, and she was in that mix back at the back end of the top 10 where Mason was running, and I think you had Ronnie, one of the Bassetts was in there a little bit. John Holloman was just outside that group, and he's another one that's been to Langley before, and I think John will have a shot at maybe elevating himself a little bit at this next race coming up. They're getting faster each time out as well. He had a hard crash early in the day at Bowman Gray that set them back, and they missed most of the afternoon practice, but got the car back together for qualifying in the feature, and he just basically hung in there, and I think he finished 12th or 13th at the end. But there definitely Kenzie had a good solid run, and love that Sunoco paint job. Anytime I've ever seen a race car, whether it's an Indy car or whatever, with an all Sunoco paint job on it, that blue and yellow is just sharp everywhere.
Oh, it is. And, definitely a lot of fun to see her having some success with it. A good-looking car, and the driver certainly gave it its due. And talking about drivers giving cars their due, we mentioned one already. He kind of came away with the trophy. So coming up next, we will talk with the man who tamed the Madhouse. Scott Heckert joins us here on the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports show. And I don't know, he can certainly pick one of 150 laps that was fun. I'm sure, Tom, he'd probably say all of them. But we'll find out right after this here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest at winyournewcar.com. That's right, winyournewcar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free delivered to your door. Come on, stop dreaming and start driving with winyournewcar.com.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right, it's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette, it's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit. Make a plan. Be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
On the air, you may know me as the man about motorsports. Actually, I've been the man about insurance for over 30 years. With one call, I can cover your life, health, auto, home, and business insurance. Recently, I saved a young couple over $500 on their annual car insurance bill. No gimmicks and no green lizard. So if you think your insurer is really your good neighbor who is on your side because he is holding your money in his good hands, think again. Call me, 703-631-8000. I have dozens of insurance companies waiting to give you the protection you need and deserve. It may take more than 15 minutes, but you'll receive sound advice, quality professional service, and an honest opinion. That number again, 703-631-8000. Ask for Larry O.
Did you know that birthday parties help build confidence in kids?
Yeah. Did you know that giving kids less sugar before bedtime helps them sleep better?
Oh, totally. Did you know that friendly kids have more friends?
Everybody knows that.
Hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
I didn't know that.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected.
Coming to Tampa Bay, I said we want to win a Super Bowl, and I believe we will.
From IamSecond.com.
We came close, but never really did win that championship.
Former NFL head coach Tony Dungy.
At the end of my 6th year, I was fired, and it was one of the biggest disappointments of my life. Next year, I'm in Indianapolis, get to the playoffs, but get knocked out again. And for the next couple of years, it's the same thing. Everyone is saying Colts are never going to win one. And I did wonder, why didn't it pan out the way I thought it would? but I determined that I had to have Christ first and that everything else came below that, including my own desires. The next year, that ended up being our year to go to the Super Bowl and win it, and it was a wonderful feeling. Every decision I make, I'm going to make it through the lens of Jesus Christ, and He'd guide us to that ultimate victory.
Watch Tony's story at IamSecond.com.
Let's go back to steel and aluminum stock cars and supplying the SRIs with Race Chaser Online Senior Editor Tom Baker and the Speed 77 Radio Cast.
Steele,
what?
That was just awful.
Well, that's close enough. I don't care.
Welcome back. What is an aluminum stock car? Welcome back to the Stock Car Steel SRI. It's very lightweight. Welcome back to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. Tom Baker, Kyle Magda, Jacob Seelman, Aaron Bearden with you on a Thursday night talking racing, and we are joined by the winner. Clearly the winner of last weekend's K&N Pro Series East race at Bowman Gray Stadium. Scott Heckert, first of all, welcome to the program. Second of all, didn't you get the memo that said this is supposed to be a wreck fest and nobody's supposed to be able to lead this thing flag to flag?
Well, thank you for having me on, first of all, and pleasure being on as always. And well, I'll tell you what, I got some help from my competitors. You know, they were aggressive but clean, and luckily only had a few cautions. I think had we had a few more cautions there late in the race, things would have gotten a little more aggressive up in the front. But I got to pull a little lead on that green run and just kept it clean.
What was the difference, do you think, in your car and your teammates' cars? I mean, you had them all around you every time there was a caution and you get into traffic and Dalton would close up, JJ close up, but they never could really do anything with you. What did you have that the other guys didn't?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we go to the track fairly similar as our teammates. Each crew chief has their own little twist on a package that we like, but then once we get to the track, there's such little time to confer with your teammates that you're really relying on your own notes and your own driver's feedback and your own crew chief's adjustments. So it's really important at that time to have good notes, have good communication with your crew chief. And I think me and my crew chief, Buzz Bergdorf, just have excellent communication. And just when I said what I needed out of the car, he knew exactly what to do to it. And we just ended up having really good drive off the corner. We could really come up out of the hole in the corner and pull a little bit of gap each turn.
All right, Scott, I've got a two-part question that's kind of in the same vein, but I'll go at it one bullet point at a time here for you. First off, obviously the history behind Bowman Gray Stadium. It's one of the longest running tracks in the country and the longest running under the NASCAR banner of any track in the country. So for you as a young guy, hearing some of the stories and then being able to go and do what you did on Saturday night, how big is it for you to win at a track with as much history as the stadium?
Yeah, I mean, the stadium's pretty incredible. Just obviously the broadcast was just on NBC Sports Network, and I got a chance to watch that and see some of the old footage from way back in the day when the Speedway was first getting its start. So just seeing that and knowing the list of winners there is incredible. It's people that are in the Hall of Fame, like Leonard Wood, obviously have lots of wins there, and just lots of great names. And to add myself to that list is something pretty special. So maybe you don't get a chance to appreciate it until you've been there, but certainly once you're there in the environment, see the people that are around you, see the names on that list, it becomes a special win.
And it was special for the location, but it was also special because of the fact that last year, Scott, your two wins were turning left and right. You got wins on the road courses at VIR and at Watkins Glen. So to be able to come and finally get your first oval track win in the K&N Pro Series East, not to mention doing it in such dominant fashion, had to feel pretty good for you, for this team. I mean, to be able to finally check that box off the resume, how good does that feel?
Yeah, the whole week and the whole day was perfect in my eyes. Getting the first oval win is obviously big. We've come very close a couple times. We've had cars that that have really been just as good as this, and just things haven't fallen quite our way. Columbus last year really comes to mind. We had a great car. But, I mean, to lead all laps, to have such a dominating performance, really, it takes any doubt out of the equation. No one can say that we lucked into a win. It's not like we ran third all night and the leaders wrecked in front of us or something. We really showed our muscle on an oval and showed that we can get it done on both road course and ovals. And to me, that's important going forward for confidence and for chasing this championship.
Yeah, for sure. I have two questions, and since you brought up the championship part, I'll just throw that out there first. Obviously, with your teammate William Byron and some of the others having issues, this threw you right back into the heat of that championship battle. How important was this race to you with that?
Yeah, well, we obviously coming into the race looked at the gap up to William, and it seems almost insurmountable, almost the whole race. We were behind. I think we're back like 39 points or something like that. But what you got to keep telling yourself is that we had our bad run at Greenville, which was very unfortunate because we had a good car there too. But you just got to keep plugging away week in, week out, and that your competitors are going to have their bad run, and you have to take full advantage of that. So to close up that much to William, obviously, I have a lot of respect for William. He's a great driver, a great kid. But it's a good thing for the rest of our season to know that we can really close up that much and continue to gain on him little by little.
Yeah, definitely. And also, this race pretty much highlighted what's been a total showing of just complete improvement for you. I mean, you've already led more laps than last year, and you're 2 top 5s away from your full season total. So what do you think has been the difference for you this year running with the same team?
Well, I think we got off on the wrong foot last year a little bit. We, I think a little bit from the driver's seat and a little bit from the crew. We were taking maybe more risks than we needed to, maybe not appreciating the consistency that we needed week in, week out. So I think from both my standpoint and my crew's standpoint, we're kind of taking things week by week a little better, maybe not being quite as aggressive with setup decisions or calls on the racetrack. And just that in general has really, rattled off top 5s for us. And I think that's the key to victory in the championship is just utter consistency. So that's really our goal every week is, we want a winning car, but we also respect that if we don't have quite a winning car, we want to, finish 4th or 3rd with it and go to the next race.
Okay, Scott. So obviously I got a chance to talk with you for a while last Wednesday at the test, but now seeing what you were able to do Saturday night, having the win under your belt and really being able to define this season in a much different light than your 2014 season was, especially in the first half. I mean, you're now working through your second year with this H. Scott team. I mean, I feel like you're coming into your own in a lot of ways. How do you define where Scott Heckert as a driver is at now compared to maybe where you were at the start of this road with the 34 team at the beginning of last year with all the struggles that you guys had? I mean, where do you define kind of that road as you've seen it now here through the first few races?
Yeah, I think a big part of it was just gaining confidence. Back in 2013, I was driving for the 72 team, and just, we struggled pretty much everywhere we went for the correct setup, and I was used to, trying to overcompensate with driving and perhaps being a little more aggressive than I needed to be. So that was a bit of a transition going to the 34 guys. Were obviously a very capable group of guys, and just it took the first half of 2014 to really meld together and understand that. And I think if you looked at our stats at the end of 2014, they're very similar to how we started off 2015. So I think I've just learned how to be smart, patient, rely on my other crew members, and have them have confidence to know that they're going to do their job. And that's definitely turned a big corner for me.
And you mentioned something that is huge, and it's something that I think probably deserves to be talked about. How big is the team chemistry for you, your crew chief, Fuzz? I mean, working with Justin Marks as the major team owner now, I mean, how big for the whole unit is that team chemistry been for you guys this year?
Yeah, I mean, team chemistry, people talk about it, and really, you can't underestimate how important it is. some of the guys, all the guys on our team have really become some of my best friends down here in North Carolina. We love to be around each other, love to joke, poke fun, but when it's business time, we know it's business time. We go out there and get the job done. So it's really just been a great relationship I've had with all these guys. I hang out with them outside of racing. And go in the shop and work with them every day, and just try to better ourselves every day. So it's really been a great team. I couldn't ask for a better group of guys, both in personality and in smarts around a race car. So I think it's a big deal. Chemistry is important in this industry. So I've been very blessed and lucky to have this group of guys around me.
I was going to say one of the guys that you get to mess with a whole bunch is going to be on right after you here in a couple minutes in J.J. Haley. But you guys are all headed to Langley in a couple weeks, Scott. Very different than Bowman Gray, but in a lot of ways it races similarly because it's some beating and banging. Anticipating, excited going there in a couple weeks?
Yeah, as my crew member Dusty told me that after the race in Tech, he said, "Can we just load up and go to Langley right now?" And I think that's how our opinion is. We're gonna load up the Bowman Gray car, clean it up, check all the parts and all the working materials, and pretty much load it up and send it to Langley, a lot like how it was at Bowman Gray. And setups won't be too far off each other. So just looking to go back there, improve on our short track package a little bit more, and go do the same thing at Langley.
Well, you know our drill before we cut you loose. And the list is longer this year than last. Sponsors, shout out Scott, who makes it happen for you and the 34 crew.
Yeah, absolutely. As has been the case, last year, Project Lifesaver, they've been with us for 3 years now. This is the third year, and they've just been great things for us, and we have a pleasure working with them, and it's been a great relationship. Obviously, the new team this year, H. Scott with Justin Marks, they've been just a joy. Same guys as last year, but new banner, and obviously things are on the up and up, and just really appreciate all the work they do coming out of that shop, and without them I couldn't do it. So really appreciate their hard work, and excited to work with them for the rest of 2015.
And we're always excited to have you on the program, Scott. It's always a pleasure, and we're looking forward to seeing you go to Langley in a couple of weeks and try to do it again. Congratulations. We'll talk to you soon, and best of luck.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Pleasure being on.
That's Scott Heckert, and we will talk to another portion of his 8 Scott Motorsports team members coming up after this break. J.J. Haley joins us on the other side, and I'm sure has a thing or two to say about Bowman Gray. That's next. You're listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
In the Pits Media is proud to present its newest partner, WinYourNewCar.com. That's right, you now can enter the #1 American Dream Car Contest giveaway at WinYourNewCar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free, delivered to your door. Come on, stop dreaming, start driving with WinYourNewCar.com.
Car problems? You can trust your local Cotman man. Cotman has a 40-year history as a leader in car repair and making happy, satisfied customers. Whatever's wrong with your car, SUV, or truck, Cotman will check it out free using state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment. Don't take chances with your car. Bring it to Cotman and let your local Cotman man show you why they are America's transmission and total auto care experts. Visit Cotman.com to download money-saving coupons. Cotman. Real service, real fast.
You know that phone call is going to come at the worst possible time, right at the end of the game. Fourth quarter, fourth down, and 1 yard to go. They're piling up, but you can't watch that. You got to get that car off the road. This could have been prevented if you have taken advantage of Cotman's free TransCheck 21. Here's a chance to have us look at your car and head off any problems that could happen that could interrupt that game. Again, it's a free check. Come see us.
See Leonard and the fine folks at Cotman of Manassas, 9113 Mathis Avenue in Manassas. Give them a call at 703-365-7200.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
If you're a gearhead, you probably go online to those hot rod superstores, drooling over the chrome and speed goodies until you find just the right item for your muscle car, tuner car, truck. But what do you do when it comes to fixing the mom mobile? If you're like most do-it-yourselfers, you head to the strip mall parts store and talk to the "Do you want fries with that?" kid behind the counter. Hold on, Bunky. Did you stop to think where those chain stores are getting the parts that you're installing in the vehicle that's used to transport your family everywhere? They get the cheapest suppliers they can find to sell you the parts at bargain prices. Their limited lifetime warranties? What a joke. Remember the last time Mom's car broke down? You heard about that one for weeks. Don't take that chance again. Excelsior Racing has the quality parts you need for your family vehicle. Parts that you can install knowing you're getting the best for your family. Excelsior Racing. Quality parts, personalized service, affordable pricing, fast to you direct. Excelsior Racing. Online at excelsiorracing.com or call 502-909-2034.
Hi everybody, this is Getty Lee for RAD. To many of us, drunk driving is something that other people do. Certainly not one of our friends or relatives would do such a thing. When you see someone who's had too much to drink, about to get into a car, urge them to give up the keys and find alternate transportation. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, you should too.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Time for more of the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on PMN. Here's a man who's in great shape. Well, round is his shape. Give it up for Tom Baker.
Round is a shape, Tom, and you wear it very proudly.
Well, I don't know about proudly, but perhaps necessarily.
Yeah, necessarily something. I don't know. I see the reason I bring us back with a laugh is because we've got somebody on the line with us here on the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show that is going to provide us, I have a feeling, with many laughs over the next 12 minutes.
I thought you were going to say that he's also round.
No, come on. I am not that mean of a person. JJ Haley, come save us, please. I'm not calling you round. You're funnier than Tom.
Lord.
So, yeah, at least spare us.
Ouch.
Congrats
Tom
on
gave
third
me a
place
hard
at Bowman
time.
Gray, by the way.
Yeah, Tom giving me a hard time.
Oh. Hey, I'm not. Just don't forget that. So, third at Bowman Gray. I mean, we just had your teammate on who blew everybody's doors off, but talk about your run. I mean, it was your best K&N finish to date. So, you've been smiling a lot over the past week or so.
Yeah, going into the season, we had high expectations to finish great, and try to win that championship. But the plans didn't really go our way, and our momentum finally started building up. Sixth at Iowa and the West-East combo, and now third at Bowman Gray. Bowman Gray's a short track, kind of where I grew up, so I had pretty good familiarity with the track and how the racing was going to be. So that definitely played my advantage. Qualifying second was huge. Wish it would have been first or third, honestly. Could have had that inside line because dropped back to fourth there. Couldn't get on the inside line. But overall, great run. The H-Scout Justin Marsh guys brought 5 really dominant cars. You saw that through practice and, through qualifying. Just some of us didn't have the luck others did the race. But all in all, a great weekend for the whole organization.
It was a great weekend, JJ. It was a great weekend for you. I know you were excited because when you came into the press tower afterward, you didn't walk in. You kind of skipped in, and you had this big smile on your face. And you said, man, I've been waiting so long to get into this media tower. And you've had a rather frustrating season at times so far. And I know that, you get to a point sometimes where you start questioning things. But this run really had to take a lot of that away and let you hit the reset button and understand, okay, we've got it. It's just sometimes the luck doesn't fall into place. But going into Langley and into the rest of the season, I would think this has to be a real confidence booster for you.
Yeah, I mean, starting off the season how we did, with the new team, knew everything, just it didn't work, and, it kind of sucked, honestly, or it really did suck. I mean, the crew guys weren't happy with how we were performing. I mean, we were quick, we had speed, it's just, we were there, just weren't there at the end due to issues. But, I was waiting. I always, get out of the car and get on Twitter. I look at everybody's pictures, and they're, like, in the press box, doing interviews. I'm like, man, why can't that be me? So it was cool. It was real cool when, I got to go up there and get interviewed. So that was definitely a pretty proud moment of myself, and, I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it very, very, very nicely, JJ. And now Tom talked about confidence. I want to talk about a different word that I think fits your season, or maybe at least it does after Saturday night at Bowman Gray. Is this the point where the momentum shifts for you and the 5 crew? Now that you finally got something going right, is this the point where you can grab hold of it and turn this season around and make something of it for the rest of what you got?
I'm not sure. That's a lot of that's a big deal right there to just totally flip it around. I hope that all of our luck is good now, and we start having some better results. Definitely pick up where we left off, going to Langley and Columbus, some short tracks that I've been on quite a bit. So that'll help me, and just take it step by step, race by race, and keep gaining with the crew and keep performing.
Performing. Let's see. You're going to do a little bit more of that this weekend. You're starting in a super late model for the first time in 2015, so you get to do something a little bit different. You've done road racing, you've done K&N East racing this year. So where are you taking the super out for a spin?
Yeah, me and the guys have been working really, really hard trying to get this super done. Going down to Cordele, Georgia for the Southern Super Series race. First super race of the season. Didn't have too good of luck in 2014, won a few, but I'm hoping to be better. I got my A-Scout Justin Marks crew coming with me to crew the late model, so we all have familiar faces, which will definitely be a bonus, and we all know how to work great together.
Let's see. You're going to the Southern Super Series race, which means there's a few big names that you've raced against before. I'll throw one out there that you may get to touch wheels with or bang doors with, something to that effect. Chase Elliott going to be in the field too. So, people are talking about big names, NASCAR guys coming back and running the super late models. Can we throw your name in that mix now?
Hey, you could have thrown my name in that a year ago, you know what I'm saying? No, it's an honor to race with all them guys. It's actually pretty cool that they all come back down from the National Series and come bang doors with us short track racing. So it's definitely cool. It brings the crowd, definitely. Fans want to see Chase Elliott running out there, and Kyle Busch Motorsports, his car. It's just cool to see something that close that has such a big impact in the NASCAR world also.
Yeah, definitely. Now, JJ, to kind of get back to the K&N performances, obviously before this year, you've kind of been a journeyman, and you still definitely are running stuff like the Southern Super Series, but this K&N series has really been your first full championship on a major level, running the full season. How much different has that been for you, and how have you kind of been able to grow with your team over the course of the year?
Yeah, like we said at the beginning of this year, I mean, I've never sat down and raced for a championship ever in my whole life. I've been progressing so quickly, and it's just crazy. You have to focus on the big picture. You can't go out there and just drive your hardest and hope to win. And if you don't get, oh well. It's all about the big picture, and it's definitely different, but it's something new and it's fun.
You're just such an intense little kid. I shouldn't say little, but an intense young kid, JJ. I mean, you have a great sense of humor, but you're also at the same time you're very intense, and it's kind of a nice combination for a racer, because you're fun to talk to and fun to interview, but at the same time you can tell that when you're on the track it is all business. So I'm curious, with the change in your status this year from racing for wins to racing for championships, what kind of a mental adjustment did you have to make in your head to be able to wrap yourself around that and learn to just maybe be a little more patient and take what each race gives you?
Man, the stress levels have definitely gone to a whole different level. I mean, it's just so stressful, and it's so fun, but I think that's why all the Chase Elliott's and everyone come back down to the Southern Super Series and run other series, because what I find with the Trans Am Series, there's no expectations really. I mean, there's not that pressure that the K&N Series brings to do well, finish well, and that just kind of makes the whole weekend go a little bit smoother, and you kind of remember it more. And a lot more fun to not have that stress and pressure. So racing for the championship has definitely put a whole lot more pressure on me. And it's just crazy to think, what all of us drivers have to go through. But we hide it so well, the pressure and the stress. It's just mind-blowing.
JJ, I asked you the other night about the NASCAR and NBC crew interviewing you. What does that mean? I know you brought it up with the media thing. What does that mean to be interviewed? For such a good run that you had at Bowman Gray.
It's pretty amazing. I don't really get that much media coverage. On Twitter or anything else. I haven't really been picked up by anyone to do my media besides H. Scott themselves. So getting interviewed is really boosting my followers and my following. So, I take every opportunity I have and, make the best of it.
You've made the best of it so far, JJ, and I know none of that is possible by yourself. And, after a third-place run, you finally get to shout out to some of them there H. Scott guys that help make it happen, sponsors, supporters, besides the crew. Who does make it happen for you in that 5 camp?
Yeah, just the whole H. Scott with Justin Mark's crew, Justin, Harry, my crew chief Mark, my uncle, my grandpa, everyone that's been there for me, my family, and, all my friends and family, everyone that comes out every weekend and watches the race. Bowman Gray was crazy. There's so many fans there. It was just an amazing sight, and I can't thank everyone enough.
And we can't thank you enough, as always, for making 12 minutes to make fun of Tom and come on and chat racing with us. It's always enjoyable, JJ. You're good for a laugh or 10, and we appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you go down the road the rest of this season. And since you're down here around our way, we actually get to see you at some point this summer.
Yeah, I love it. I'm moved down to Cornelius now, and I work in Mooresville every day, so it's good. I've been waiting for that opportunity for a long time, and I finally got it.
It's fun to steal him from the Midwest. That's JJ Haley, and when we come back, we'll wrap the show up, throw the white flag, and get Aaron to pull the crystal ball out and make some picks in advance of this weekend. You're listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
WinYourNewCar.com. Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest. At WinYourNewCar.com, complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free. Come on, stop dreaming, start driving with WinYourNewCar.com.
Car problems? You can trust your local Cotman man. Cotman has a 40-year history as a leader in car repair and making happy, satisfied customers. Whatever's wrong with your car, SUV, or truck, Cotman will check it out free using state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment. Don't take chances with your car. Bring it to Cotman and let your local Cotman man show you why they are America's transmission and total auto care experts. Visit Cotman.com to download money-saving coupons. Cotman. Real service, real fast.
You know that phone call is going to come at the worst possible time, right at the end of the game. 4th quarter, 4th down, and 1 yard to go. They're piling up, but you can't watch that. You got to get that car off the road. This could have been prevented if you have taken advantage of Cotman's free TransCheck 21. Here's a chance to have us look at your car and head off any problems that could happen that could interrupt that game. Again, it's a free check. Come see us.
See Leonard and the fine folks at Cotman of Manassas, 9113 Mathis Avenue in Manassas. Give them a call at 703-365-7200.
Media sales professionals with agency experience. If you're frustrated with your current position, unrealistic quotas, and inept management, if you're a sales machine and you simply will not take no as an acceptable reply, if you're looking for a rapidly growing company with unlimited sales potential for commissions in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, if you're searching for a high-tech, forward-looking, laid-back, but extremely professional organization who appreciate your skills and dedication, we have your next opportunity. Scorpion Radio Group is building a sales team of self-starters who are motivated. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444 or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. That's 717-749-0444. 0444 and ask for Sue.
Hi, this is Jens Scott from Summit Point Kart in Summit Point, West Virginia. If you're looking for a real racing experience on a real racetrack, come out to Summit Point Kart this weekend. For as little as $25, you can get your racing career started. New this year, Summit Point Kart offers the RX 250 capable of over 75 miles an hour. We're open every Friday from 5 p.m. till 9 p.m., Saturday from noon till 10 p.m., and Sunday from noon till 9 p.m. For more information, go to our website, summitpointkartwithak.com, or you can call us at 304-725-5270. Summit Point Kart, your East Coast karting center.
For 17 years, Stock Car Steel has been a leading materials supplier to the racing industry. Now they're also an official motorsports content partner of Race Chaser Online. The biggest names in NASCAR trust Stock Car Steel for all their raw materials, such as carbon steel, chrome moly, DOM, aluminum, plastics, and much, much more. You can't build a race car without the basic materials, and Stock Car Steel is the place to get them. Don't forget to also visit Stock Car Steel's sister company, SRI Supplies, for racing and industry. SRI is your #1 source for all your shop supply needs. Nuts, bolts, rivets, tapes, adhesives, cutting tools, chemicals, body shop supplies, paint shop supplies, lubricants, and more. A well-stocked race shop is a winning race shop, and the road to winning begins with 3 letters, SRI. For more information, visit stockcarsteel.com and SRI-supplies.com. You can also find them on Facebook at Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, or call either company toll-free at 1-888-752-7272.
We now return you to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network. And here's the guy who lost the hula hoop contest at the last PMN Summer Picnic because he just can't hula hoop. It's Tom Baker.
Round people cannot hula hoop. That's how it works, folks. Tom Baker, Jacob Seelman, Aaron Bearden, and Kyle Magda. RaceChaserOnline.com. All together in one place, talking motorsports on the only place we would ever want to be, talking motorsports, the Performance Motorsports Network. And thanks to the folks from Stock Car Steel and SRI Motorsports, SRI Supplies, rather, for making this possible for us to do this every week. Jacob, we are now into our white flag, and our listeners all understand what that means. It means that we're going to talk forecasts, and we do that not by talking about the weather, but by who we think's going to win. We all give our picks the other day, but Aaron wasn't on the Monday night show, so he gets to give his picks tonight, Jake, and I can't wait to see who he picks in the ARCA race this weekend.
Oh, I'm excited about this. I'm also more excited to point something out to Aaron that we can use to put one more nail in your coffin tonight, Mr. Baker. Aaron Bearden, you missed the entirety of Speed Weeks. Guess what? You are now ahead of Tom in overall points for the season, my friend.
That's pretty funny considering I missed about 2 weeks.
We just don't like Tom tonight. Yeah.
Getting mean.
Yeah.
Getting mean.
Okay, Aaron, anyway, with that being said, we'll get unmean now. You got a truck race, an ARCA race, IndyCar at Texas, and a Cup race to worry about. So, we got the Lone Star State, and then we've got some state where Magda's at. I don't know, where we go with that. Anyway,
oh, man.
Pull your crystal ball out and enlighten us, my friend.
Pull my crystal ball out and enlighten you, huh? Well, I'll start with Pocono, and you guys were talking about rain. Now, if it rained, I would take Jeff Gordon, because the last 2 times it's rained, he's taken it there. And I know how crazy Magda'd go if that Penn State car made it to victory lane. So
comment. I did not even pick him, so no comment.
I didn't say you picked him. I said you wanted him to win. But
no, I didn't say
I didn't pick him.
No comment.
Heard that. If you want me to make a pick for Pocono, I've been talking about this. A lot of people have their eyes on the Hendrick Motorsports team just because they've won 5 in a row. But if you want me to make a pick personally, I'm going to say Kurt Busch. He's been ridiculously fast pretty much ever since he came back from the whole Driscoll incident. And he has 2 wins in the summer in Pocono in the past. It's just traditionally it's been a track where he's been able to get on the right track and really kind of take over and win races. So I think with Hendrick power under his hood and that crazy mentality he's always got when he's on the track, he could be able to dive bomb it under some people and make some passes to get to the front. Now, if you want me to go to ARCA, now this Pocono race, a lot of the time it's kind of been a who's who of ARCA just because the ones who've won usually have some sort of cup backing or on their way to the Cup Series. I mean,
I said that on Monday night.
You've got Ryan Newman's one there. You got Casey Atwood. He made the cut for a while. Casey Mears, Scott Riggs, Larson, Elliott,
Travis
Ty
Watt.
Dillon. I mean, Joey Logano, Ricky Stenhouse. I mean, if you win here, a lot of the times it's kind of an indication that you're onto a Cup profile, just because usually this track, as big as it is, especially in ARCA, your guys with your Cup power and Cup engines and stuff can really flex their muscle and kind of drive off. So with
let me
that
guess,
said,
you're going to pick Cole Custer like I did.
that's definitely the one I have to just out of my head. I feel like I have to pick Cole Custer because, I mean, if you just look at it just from an outside, unbiased perspective, he's going to have horsepower under that hood that's going to make him really hard to top. Now, if you want a couple other guys to look at, I mean, obviously Trevor Bayne, he's won a little race called the Daytona 500. I think he knows how to drive a stock car. And there's going to be some other guys in the field. If you want, I hate to even call him a dark horse, but if you want a dark horse for me, I would say Matt Tifft, because he's been pretty strong at super speedways in the past, and that Ken Trader Racing team has really stepped their game up, and they've become really strong recently. So I would definitely keep an eye on Tifft to be able to run good at Pocono. Now, with all that said, you guys have got me steamrolling through all these picks at once, so I'll transition over to the hot state of Texas. And before I get to Texas, all my X's, before we get to IndyCar, obviously I want to start with the shh, don't tell anybody. But obviously going to the Truck Series, there's going to be a decent bit of names. I mean, it's one of the smallest entry lists I think we've ever seen. It's like, is it 28 now, or did they finally get to 30? I think they finally got to 30. But there's a few decent names on the list. I think there's two previous winners to look at here and their teammates with Johnny Sauter and Matt Crafton. I think they're definitely going to be ones to watch. However, going into it, just going off my gut, as good as he's been lately and as close as he's come to victory lane, I'm going to go out on a very short limb here and pick Eric Jones to win this race, just because that Kyle Busch Motorsports team has been fast. They've shown the ability to win at Texas in the past with Busch. And if y'all can't tell, Jones is kind of licking his chops and wanting to get to victory lane. I think he's starting to get a little frustrated here.
3 straight that he's not closed the deal.
Yeah, true that. And as for IndyCar, I mean, it's an oval. I feel like you have to pick a Penske car. And I want to say Simon Pagenaud just because it would be cool to see that story. But honestly, I'm probably going to have to go with Will Power right now. I think
really?
Yes, he's been showing some strength on ovals that we've never really seen from Power before. And all the eyes were on Montoya a few weeks ago at the Brickyard, but Will Power kind of surprised people. He was in that race. He's shown that he has improved his oval game quite a bit. And obviously those Penske cars are really wicked fast wherever they go. So if I have to make a pick for that race, I would honestly right now go with Will Power to kind of get the monkey off his back and get another oval win.
Well, I'll bring this up, Kyle Magda, and I don't remember if it was you I was talking to about this or one of our other cast members the other day. It might have been Joel, actually. But, everybody seems to forget Will Power's first ever oval win came at Texas when they had that doubleheader in 2000. I think it was 2012.
I did
when they had the doubleheader.
Boy, because I was thinking just about it, but I didn't say anything.
Aw.
So, but no, yeah, he does have the win in Texas there. In that, I don't know if it was 2012 because that was
2011 maybe.
That was a race at Graham Rahal.
Yeah, no, it was 2011. That's what it was.
Okay.
2011. They all run together after a while. Texas goes by so quickly, Tom. That's the thing. We talk about 600 kilometers, but when you're running 240 laps at 220 miles an hour, it goes by. Snap your fingers and we're done.
Yeah, it really it's a very fast race, and it really tests in some ways the Indy cars. I mean, you think about Indy being the biggest track, but with Pocono thrown in there as well. But Texas being a smaller track than that, but in a lot of ways it's even scarier because it's it is such a fast track, and but it's a great show, and I'm really going to be interested. I'm a little bit concerned still. I know that the aero package is a little different, but
a lot different.
Just hoping that it's going to be a safe race first of all, and then I hope it's a good race. I think that IndyCar is really they've got some work to do still to get things the way they need to be with these aero kits and I feel like in some ways they're still, almost trial and erroring it, and that's never a good thing. But
No.
but it has the opportunity to be a really, really good race. And I think, some of the guys that you typically might not necessarily think about on an oval track because of this track's design and because it's so fast, it wouldn't surprise me at all to see somebody like a Graham Rahal, or even a Joseph Newgarden sneak up and contend for the win and be in contention all the way. I don't necessarily think this is going to be a Penske Ganassi dominated race. I can see some of these other guys stepping up and being able to play here. I think it's going to be a great track for passing.
Again, Texas owes Graham Rahal one from a couple years ago.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, Texas owes Graham Rahal. Graham Rahal's been in the top 5 4 out of the last 5 races, and that team is due for a win. And they're backed by Steak and Shake. All of those reasons why Graham Rahal should have some fun this weekend. So, with that being said, we got a couple minutes left. I'll go around the table because Kyle Magda suggested I start doing that. So I will. And since you suggested it, oh brilliant one, I'll start with you for final thoughts tonight, Magda.
Well, thank you for calling me brilliant one, because I know I am brilliant. But, yeah, I mean, there's so much going on. Humble as well, exactly, Tom. But there's so much going on this week, and I mean, I'll be at Pocono all week, and I'm working on a piece here that's for Tyler Audi. I'm finishing that up hopefully tonight, and just pretty much gonna give it heck with the ARCA and Cup stuff this weekend at Pocono Race. So really looking forward to it. And yes, Aaron, the Penn State car will be on the track. Hopefully for the fellow Penn State students, alums, staff will enjoy it. Enjoy the car being on the track, and hopefully in victory lane for them. But Aaron, I did pick Jimmy Johnson, by the way. I did take a Hendrick car, so it's going to be an interesting weekend, probably with the rules package coming up here. I'm going to keep my eye on that Sunday, and there's so many questions still in the air. Will he dominate? Who's going to win? So, Jacob, there's just so many storylines, and I'm ready to cover most of them this weekend.
You brought up the next guy, so Aaron Bearden, you've utilized your crystal ball. Now we get to say it's all done except for the racing. What are you most looking forward to, or what's the final thought from your head tonight?
Oh, man, there's so many, but honestly, the big thought going through my mind is just safety for the IndyCar race right now. I know we had a lot of issues with the aero kits in Indianapolis, and I think they've worked on them. But going to a 1.5 mile oval is a completely different beast, and I'm a little nervous going into this weekend that some driver's going to spin out wrong and flip into the fence or something. But maybe that's just kind of a carryover from the Weldon incident a few years ago. But honestly, I think all the racing this weekend's going to be good. I love when NASCAR and IndyCar come together and do a companion weekend like they're doing this weekend with the trucks and them. But my big thing this week is I just want a safe race and for all them drivers to get back in one piece.
Tom Baker.
I am thinking about two things real quick from last night. Millbridge Speedway. If you are ever in the Charlotte, North Carolina area in the middle of a week, you want to go see the coolest little night of racing you'll ever see, go to Millbridge Speedway and catch the Mini Outlaws. Another great night of racing last night, even in the lower divisions, the intermediates, the box stocks, some 3-wide racing at times. Those young kids just put on a great show. And of course, all of the big guys, the open division as well. So that, and I'm also thinking ahead to Saturday where I will be in South Boston, Virginia for the the Pass South race there. They'll have late model stocks there in addition to Pass Super late models and Pro late models, as well as the Legends cars will be there as well. Looking forward to that show. Should be a great show. And anytime you get anything on South Boston, it's a great show. So excited to be going back there for the first time this season, and we'll have all the details on our shows next week.
Yes, we will. My final thought stems from the fact that we are getting ready to go racing in the Pocono Mountains. That also means that we've wrapped up Dover. We're through the first half of the regular season. 13 races to go for drivers to try and make the Chase cutoff. That's going to be fun to watch on Sunday afternoon, as is all the rest of the racing action this weekend. And, you know, because it's racing action, that means it's time for us to say goodbye. So we're throwing a checkered flag on this edition of the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. And as always, want to say a special thank you to our partners and friends at Stock Car Steel and Aluminum and SRI Supplies for making this show possible and for For all your shop supply and scrap metal needs, visit stockcarsteel.com or SRI-supplies.com, two of the best names in racing industry. For Tom Baker, Aaron Bearden, Kyle Magda, and Big Mike behind the glass producing for us tonight, I'm Jacob Seelman, reminding you one more time, as I do every week, to keep it off the wall until we meet again, and we'll see you next time right here on the web, or just maybe at the racetrack. Have a safe racing weekend, and good night.
You've been listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network. Tonight's show is brought to you by Stock Car Steel and Aluminum and SRI Supplies. For all of your racing needs, visit stockcarsteel.com and SRI-supplies.com. Keep up with the latest motorsports news every day on Race Chaser Online. The Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network. www.performancemotorsportsnetwork.com, a member of the Scorpion Radio Group, Inc., and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. Check out our Facebook page or our section on the PMN website. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, co-hosts, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either the Performance Motorsports Network or Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, the advertisers, or the marketing partners. Be listening again next week for more great motorsports programming right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.